Hi, this is Scott from Salto, and today I will be showing our support for Zendesk Guide Themes. So here is my Help Center portal in my sandbox environment. I'm using the default guide theme. I've just made a few small updates. So one of the updates here is that I have a new link on the top header that opens up a form, and then once I open up the form, there's some custom code that if I choose the critical urgency level, there will be a pop-up. Now, I haven't implemented this in my production environment yet, so you can see that there's no link to that new form. Now let's take a look at how I set this up. So in my script.js file, I've got an event listener that is going to take a look specifically at this element, and it's going to be referring to the custom field that's sitting there in that form by its ID. Now, to pull this into Salto, and this will be in our documentation, you can pull in the Help Center content as well as the themes itself. And then once you get that pulled in, you'll be able to find under Guide all of the brands that have Help Center enabled. And then under the brands, you will now see a themes folder with all of the themes related to that specific brand. And if I take a look at the contents of the script itself, Salto is going to be able to pull out the references to other elements, and you can see it right here. So in this line, Salto is able to pull out that this is referring to a custom field called customer priority. And let's take a look at the header code where I added this link to the ticket form. So here we can see a simple link. And when I fetch this into Salto, I can see under the headers file, it is pulling in that link, but as you can see, it's creating a reference to both the brand subdomain and the ticket form ID. This will come in really useful when we're deploying any of these changes to another environment. Now I'm ready to deploy this change. So I'm going to take the changes that I made to my guide theme code in Sandbox and get that changed in production as well. So I'm going to use Salto to do that. So I'm going to go to our compare and deploy, and I made those changes in our Sandbox environment, and I will be making those changes to my production environment. And I'm going to call this update srd test guide theme. When I create the compare and deploy, Salto is going to show me all of the differences between these two environments. And since I know exactly what I'm going to take a look at, it's a modification, and it's going to live under the guide folder. And under brands, I'm going to select my specific brand. This also holds all the Help Center articles as well, but I'm specifically looking at the themes, and let me open this up. All right, so Salto is going to show me the differences that it's picked up in this specific theme across my Sandbox and production. So here I can see I've got basically two changes. I've got the script.js file, and if I scroll down, I can see the change is it's adding that section where it's going to be creating that little pop-up. And here is the part of the code that's referring to that specific ticket field. And because that's a reference, when I deploy that change into production, Salto can automatically just update the ID for me. So I will select that specific change. And then farther down here under the templates, I can see the update to the header file. And it shows me, there it is, that new link. And again, this is a reference, a Salto reference to both the subdomain and the actual form ID. So when I select that, Salto knows the reference to the specific form or the field in both of those environments and can select that. Now, since I selected these changes to the guide themes that add a reference to that form and the field, Salto is going to call out any missing dependencies. So I'm referring to that form, and that form doesn't, I haven't actually added that form in production yet, so I also need to add that. And because that form also relies on some fields that don't exist, including that field that's being referenced in the guide theme code, Salto is also going to call that out. So I've got about 20 elements in total. I've got the update to the theme code itself, and then because the updates also included a number of new elements that don't exist yet in production, I will also add that. Now the next step is to create a deployment preview. This is where Salto is going to run some initial validation of sort on the deployment, just making sure that we have everything that we need in order to deploy. And no issues here, so I can go ahead and click on deploy. So this is going to actually deploy those changes into production. And at the end of this deployment, I'm going to get a summary of everything that was updated. And then I can go into Zendesk and actually confirm that everything was deployed. So now that we've got this deployed, let me jump into my production instance here. And already I can see that I've got this new link that wasn't here before. And all right, so the link is working as expected with the taking in the ticket form with the correct ID that's in production. So just to confirm, this is in Sandbox, obviously a different ID, but Salto was able to handle it. And yep, so everything works. So again, this is how to use Salto to fetch your guide themes and also deploy changes to those guide themes, including any updates that you make to configuration elements like ticket forms or fields.